So this is the hardware that you should receive roughly with your Mark 1 07K kit. This would have come with your cable clutch kit. I just have it here to show you when you would want to install it. But this is your lower mount. There's already one on the motor. This is the only mount that I would suggest putting on beforehand, and you don't even have to put it on beforehand. I just have it sitting underneath there. I had the motor hanging on the stand and put it on there beforehand, but it's not necessary that you put it on before. While we're here, let's walk around and just talk about this motor for a minute. We're not going to install it with the header in place. You can, if you have your stock exhaust manifold, you can leave it on if that's what you're using. If you're using anything other than a stock manifold, you're going to want to convert to studs. So we've already converted to studs. We have our secondary air delete plates in place. This is a broken speedo sensor, but this is the part that you actually are going to remove. This is where our speedo cable will attach. Shift cable bracket is installed and ready. We've got a new water neck housing. If you're going to paint your motor, I definitely recommend leaving a lot of your old stuff that you're going to replace on it as a mask. You can see that I've done that with this valve cover. It just gets all kinds of paint all over it, but I've already painted the motor but replaced the water neck housing. I cut the factory oil filler off and put a metal one on there so I can burn my hand when I got to add oil to this thing and it's, you know, at running temperature. Smart decisions. So new starter, it's in place. We have new bolts for your motor to trans if you guys are looking for like fresh stainless bolts. Vacuum pump delete's in place. We're not going to install this with an intake manifold on. You can install it with your factory, even with the factory one on. This one still has to go get coated, so it's not ready to go on anyway. Thermostat housing has a new thermostat in it, new seals on it, new alternator. Our oil filter housing will run a remote oil cooler. AC delete for now. Our plan is to put AC on this car. It may or may not happen. It just depends on if we get the bracketry finished, but it's a thought. So new water pump over here, all new tensioners, pulleys. So everything that we could service is serviced and ready. We removed, there was a bracket that kind of held these guys on. It's going to be really tight and in your way, and it's honestly ugly. It hangs out up here and I don't like it, so it's gone. But this is basically how I recommend having your motor trimmed out to go into your Mark 1. Okay, back here to the hardware. So these are your factory Mark 1 motor mount frame bolts. These are stainless options, these are zinc options. None of these are, like I said, a uncommon or hard to get bolt, other than the fact that they're metric. So if you don't have a bolt store in town that handles metric, they might be difficult for you, but like I said, we carry them. Amazon has them, all kinds of places have them. So don't let that hold you up, but make sure you have them and are ready to go. So lower mount, upper trans mount with the bolts. We already drilled out the trans so that these will go all the way through. And this is your motor mount bracket, 3 bolts on the back, 2 bolts on the side. None of these I will install until the motor's really close to sitting in there. This thing is super wide, and it's very difficult to get in position if if the motor mounts are hanging off of it as well. If you're dropping it in from the top, I definitely would recommend leaving all of this stuff off. From the bottom, I've had the trans mount on before and then added the motor mount, and that didn't go too bad. But for this install, this is what I feel the easiest way for you to do this. One last thing, I made a template for you guys. It's a PDF. If you buy a Mark 1 kit, it will always be able to download. It should be in your inbox. In your original order, it will say that there is a download available, and it will be available as long as you have the access to the email. It doesn't expire or anything like that. But you're going to cut that bottom section away, and I made much cleaner notes on the PDF itself. But you're going to take this tab or this paper, and this is difficult to do with one hand. I need an assistant. Anyway, line this up with the bottom edge of the fender liner on both sides here, and then trace out the arch in between my fingers there. And you can see that that brake tab should land, this paper will drop just a little bit, the brake tab should land between these two lines, and that will tell you you're roughly in the right spot. Make sure you press the paper into this fender since the fender is concave. But this will give you your trim out, and this needs to be done obviously before we put the motor in.